Is there anyone else from your team, Patrick? I'm trying to remember.
No, I think we're all here.
Okay, and my team's all here, so we're good to get started.
Great.
Uh, we just have a brief discussion to have. I sent you an email about this following our last session, but in regards to the pathway for continued funding for graduate assistants whose grants are canceled by the federal government. This was announced by UF a couple of months ago that they were establishing this pathway, but GAU has not heard any sort of discussion on that whatsoever. We maintain that while we think that's a good thing to be happening, that this act does fit within terms and conditions of employment and is a mandatory subject to bargaining. So we'd love to have a discussion over that and answer some of the questions we have regarding that process.
So I appreciate the email. I do think that we're probably going to have a difference of opinion on that. I don't mind talking about it a little bit. So in terms of this would be in a situation, how explain if you wouldn't mind, if you don't want to now, that's perfectly fine because I don't want to put you on the spot, Austin. How would how would establishing a some sort of additional financial pathway or safeguard be a mandatory term of or condition of employment if the university elects to change a funding source and forego its option to execute Article 4 and the provision to non-renew based on a financial shortfall? I'm just not seeing. Could you just kind of walk me through the logic on that so I could discuss it with the team?
Well, the logic is kind of the lack of transparency as far as like what we're aware of. Now, obviously, if it is simply a change of funding without any sort of changes to how much the GA is paid, no changes to their requirements, what they need to continue doing to be employed, that's one discussion. But we haven't heard anything about, where this funding is coming from. If the funding is unlimited, I mean, if 1,000 GAs lost their funding, would UF have to pick and choose which ones continued funding? Is there a process for people to get on that pathway? Are some people eligible versus ineligible? Um, is the stipend and benefits the same? Those sort of questions that we sort
I
of
got
don't
it.
have the answers for that interact with the different parts of our contract as it stands.
So okay, so I kind of understand what you're saying. Yeah, I think all right, I'll discuss that with the team with that sort of in mind. I don't know again if we're going to necessarily agree, but perhaps we could maybe provide a little more clarity to answer some of your questions and concerns, which may alter your interpretation or not. So I don't mind circling back with the team and talking about that a little bit based on kind of what you just shared.
That sounds perfect. Yeah, and we'll send you an email after this with sort of like a rundown of what the thoughts we've had on this as we've been thinking about
Great.
it, just to help
Yeah,
clarify that.
that'd be very helpful. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so we have a couple proposals remain or a couple articles remaining open. Is there
Yeah.
anything from UF today to present?
So I think the first I wanted to just talk about was going to be with respect to Article 19, which I've resent to you all. I didn't know if we needed any more discussion or if that was. I have that as the TA format, like that was the form of that article that we had agreed on. I just wanted to make sure that that comported with your notes and that we were ready to go ahead and TA it. I had sent it and then canceled it because we had, I believe, according to what I have in my notes, we had failed to contemplate the fact that we are unable to provide you dues deduction status on a member because we no longer have the ability to see that information because now you all are collecting dues and the article which we had sort of verbally agreed to still required us to provide that. And it's not that we don't want to provide it, it's that we literally can't because we don't have the information. We don't have the information anymore. So that was the change I had on that one. I just wanted to make sure that we were otherwise, if that one's ready to go, I just want to make sure that there's no more discussion or proposals we need to exchange on that one. I think that one's kind of low hanging fruit.
Yeah, I believe we're on the same page there. That we're prepared to sign it and agree to that TA. I don't think we have any further discussion on that. Obviously, we still need to meet as a team and double check and before we sign it.
Sure.
But as far as I'm
Yeah.
aware, and from my brief review, I think we're ready for that. Yeah.
And then the other one is we accepted and I loaded into DocuSign your proposal on changing the no later than as opposed to no before then for the duration article.
Mhm.
So please check that one. There's no changes to it. I loaded in there as you all had proposed using your Word doc and added the DocuSign signature lines to it. So I think that one should be, again, it should be your proposal you're receiving back. So hopefully that meets your expectations and hopefully we can maybe TA that one too.
Yep, that sounds good to us. Yeah.
Okay. So then that leaves us with 10 and 16.
Yes.
So at this point, the university is prepared to declare impasse on those two articles, on Article 10 and Article 16.
Patrick, I would just like to reiterate that and say that GAU is prepared to also declare impasse. We have an email scheduled to go out to at 9 a.m. tomorrow based on that fact.
Understood. Yeah, we'll be providing additional paperwork, as is the process, and we're prepared to notify PERC.
Okay.
Unless you're telling me you said you already have the email loaded and ready to go.
I have an email loaded and ready to go to PERC at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I felt it was best
Okay.
to have a discussion with your team before we notified anyone.
I appreciate that. No, I appreciate your willingness to have another chat about it. And again, I don't mind. And I will get with the team regarding the conversation we had at the outset of the pathway and funding discussion. But that being the case, and until and unless we need to get together to discuss that particular issue, I'm not so sure it's going to be terribly productive for us to continue and meet about 10 and 16. I mean, I haven't calculated the hours in the sessions that both your team has put in an incredible amount of time and effort as well as my team has. I don't know if continuing to meet and talk about it is going to be terribly productive. I don't know how you feel about that. I mean, we are permitted to continue to meet um, as the impasse process unfolds. I don't know if it's going to be a terribly good use of our time.
My team is always able to meet, and we're willing to have those discussions if it's jointly agreed to and reasonable. Um, Obviously, we have been back and forth on this a lot of times. GAU has been very clear and has made concessions after concession, and that's why we had also reached that decision to discuss with you about declaring impasse. Um, at this point, we have been patient. We've waited for several months for UF to come back to the table. And it was met with just another brick wall without further discussion on 10 and 16. So, we're happy to have further negotiations and further discussions if we get to that point and have those discussions. But no, I don't think we should force ourselves to have to meet every week if UF is not interested in changing their positions on this.
Yeah, I think we've gone through a cycle of basically reiterating, similar proposals multiple times in a row. And in the light of the difference between the penultimate and then the ultimate proposals from GAU on Article 10, yeah, I don't know if I'm happy to if and when GAU has a proposal that's different, we will make time as quickly as possible to get to the table, and I will let you know if we similarly have a decision to change and propose something new. But I think at this point, respectfully, I think we've sort of defined where our respective last best final offers are, and to put ourselves through getting together and just restate what our previous position is, I just don't think it's going to be terribly productive.
Yep, and I mean, UF has made it clear that they continue to want to remove the release time program, and we've made it clear that that's not something we're willing to do. And with those firm lines in place, unless UF changes on that guards, I mean, we are not going to change in our proposals. So,
Understood.
is there any further discussion you want to have on this point?
No, I mean, not on that point. I mean, I think, like I said, I'll look for your email. I'll be getting with my team about, getting in touch with the folks that we're going to get in touch with on our side. Hopefully we can still get, 19 and the duration article, put away. So at least those ones can be cleared up. It'll reduce the scope of what we're going to have to deal with on this next part. And then like, I'll also look for your email if it's going to be the same email or a different email on some of the questions and clarifications you identified at the top of the meeting. And, I'll I'll get with my team right away and we'll get back to you on those points as well.
Okay.
All right, my team, if we could caucus, that'd be great. And Austin, I'll look for your email and we'll respond thereafter.
Sounds good.
Thank you.